Okay, well, I'm running. So, welcome everyone to ALR Season 21, here with Tier 2 for the final round of the season at Marina. We have a couple of drivers in with a shout out at the championship. Kellen is current championship leader here in P1, and crucially, title rival X9G is next to him in P2. Let me just quickly get up what the championship looked like before, because I can't remember what the gap was. I think it was quite big, like 20 something points maybe? 25 points. So, Kellen would have got a bonus point for pole position. I think if Kellen wins the sprint, he wraps up the championship. Yeah, if Kellen wins, so that is quite simple and easy to keep track of. If Kellen wins the sprint race, that is him winning the championship. So, let me just check. I might be muted. I'm not muted, it's okay. I messed with my settings for when I was streaming ACC. Okay, so, yeah, like I was saying, Kellen, if he wins, that is the championship. X90G in second, give himself the best possible chance. Obviously, he's probably going to lose a position, I reckon, to Perry. Might be able to hold on to third. 296, not great off the line. He's got his teammate for a little bit of backup behind him. And then Perry is just outside of the championship fight, I think. Just beyond what max points would be. He would still need a lot of luck for Kellen not to win it. But he's got a good chance to help his teammate wrap up the constructors, so that is still good for them. Then we've got also, I think he had... Did he have a race win last week? I think he's had another race win recently. Could have been Tokyo. He's had a race win recently as well as earlier on in the season, so he's in good form. P5 in the qualifying. In the Honda NSX, which you would expect to do pretty good around here. The 296 has actually impressed me that they're 2 and 3, because out of the MR cars, I wouldn't have thought it would have suited them that much, but they've done really well to get 2 and 3. The Honda NSX is probably, I would say, more suited to this track, same with the 458, but they're in 6th and 7th, so still decent qualifying and better from Gilles, because we have seen him struggle for the majority of the season. Had a really good start, had, I think, a good race last week in the wet. Maybe the end result didn't quite show it, but 7th in qualifying here is another good result, so he'll be fighting to get into the top 5 if he can. Anonymous in the Mazda, that's probably going to be a tricky car here. You really want acceleration and rotation. It's not really the Mazda's wheelhouse, but he's still qualified in 8th. We'll have to see if he moves forward or not from there. Then we've got Asseldor in the Peugeot RCZ, another car that should be fairly decent around this track. But again, there's a lot of other MR cars in this grid, so it is an advantage, but if everyone's got that advantage, it is no longer that advantage. And Stimos was that Alfa Romeo. Should be good. Again, MR car. It's a little bit of a tricky car to get your head around, but he's obviously got into the top 10 with it, so we'll have to see how he does in the race. I think he struggled a little bit in the last race he did. Not sure how much practice he does for these races, given that he was a reserve this season. Then we've got Sinofak in 11th in the Lamborghini, another MR car. So I'd expect that to do pretty well as well with the Lamborghini. It's not got great acceleration or top speed, so that long back straight is going to be a bit painful. So that might be what's really costing him. And he'll have to get that time back in the last sector. And then we've got Mortal in the second Peugeot. A little bit lower than I would expect for a Mortal, but it is a new track as well, or relatively new track to the game. So how much practice people have done on the track is going to vary quite a lot. Then we've got Captain Chubbs showing up in the Corvette again. It's a low tire wear track, so the sprint is not going to be an issue for him on softs, but the feature race could be tricky to do the medium soft strategy, which I believe is the best strategy for the feature race. And again, Corvette, it's got good acceleration at least. Not sure about the rotation. Obviously, the tire wear is his big problem. Then we've got Rotko's in 14th. Probably going to be a bit more competitive in the sprint race than last week when he just went for the fastest lap. So, Let's get this race underway. Now 5 red lights and they are off. Kellen's going to get away really nicely from the start. Also has actually managed to jump Perry as well, so that Honda getting a lightning start. And X90G is down into P4. Still side by side with Perry. Can he? No, he has to fall in behind, so that's 2 positions lost, but it's not bad. He's still in the fight. He's 8 laps to get himself up to Kellen if he can. Everybody line astern. We've got Throttle Guys has made quite a few positions. Actually, he only made 1 position. Thought he'd made more than that. And yeah, we are going to have to mention the track limits in the fact that the majority of them don't actually exist. And the game does not care. As we've got Perry tucked up right in the slipstream from Auto. Auto's probably going to go defensive. Yep, sends Perry to the outside. Not a bad place to be on the outside. If you can make it all the way around. Oh, a little bit of contact. I think that was Perry just trying to sneak to the inside. I'm not sure if Auto went a little bit wide at the corner. Oh, maybe got a little bit of a bump. He was a little bit wide, but so clearly on Perry that one. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't reported, so obviously the last round of the season, I think people not being too bothered about little things like that. Just a bit of an unfortunate incident. But crucially, that has allowed X90G up into second, but also crucially it has allowed Kellen to get a nice breakaway. Already broken the slipstream. And Perry is going to be looking to do his job as the rear gunner for Kellen. Maybe try and get back past X90G, hold him up, guarantee Kellen that win. And these guys have gone back to their traditional livery that they started the season with. Obviously we're running the Japanese special one for the last 3 rounds. As we have Throttle Guys going defensive from Taz. The battle of the Ferraris. I would have said the 458 really would have had the advantage here. It's not got the top speed that the 296 does, but the acceleration is considerably better. Same with the rotation for the last sector. Oh, and something's happened to Gilles. Where's Gilles gone? Lost a couple of positions. Been shuffled there. Captain Chubbs has made up a lot of positions, up into 8th already. I'm curious to see this drag race. Oh, someone's going for a late move. Stiggy Moss going for a late move on Gilles there. Does he manage to get that? Might get dragged with the acceleration of the 458. And I think Gilles is going to have the slipstream from Captain Chubbs up ahead. No, actually Stiggy Moss that's getting it. It's pretty much shared between them. And you can see right at the end of the straight, the Ferrari is starting to lose out. But he's going to try and hold it around the outside. He's going to give him the inside for the second part of the chicane, and he has that move done. Stigmos has to go wide. Need to be careful if you do that. The AstroTurf is like ice. Then we've got Mortal with a penalty serve side. He's going to get Stigmos that position back. So Gilles managed to hold on to P9. Captain Chubbs having to go at Anonyma. So Captain Chubbs really making his way forward. Ooh, Anonyma's holding it around the outside. Managed to stay ahead for now. And then this section, it's really hard to make a move. You kind of need someone to make a mistake or a significant difference in the tyre life. It's obviously not going to be a factor in the sprint race. And everybody just starting to spread out a little bit, although this group are locked together. Auto's already recovered up into 12th. Has a little bit of a slide. Oh, and that's Stiggy Moss gone. Was that just over the dirty air and the bumps? And saying it was a long way back. Senor Fight going for a nice move there. Not really, I would say, a conventional overtaking spot. Does he hit the wall? No, I think I think it's just the dirty being off track, being on the dirty part. And it is a bit bumpy out there. Obviously, it's not meant to be the track. It's just the game ignores the track limit. And that has cost him. Down in 14th now and quite a ways off the back of the pack. Now we've got Auto fighting into the trying to fight into the top 10 positions. Currently on a PB first sector. Taking a very different line to Senior Fak, really cutting the inside. Senior Fak really extending on the exit and gets him at that excellent exit, and he's pulled a nice gap. Also actually pulling out of the slipstream. And Senior Fak got a good enough exit that he's not coming under attack. Anonymous on the other hand is not, and Chubbs has managed to get up into P7. So, maybe the Corvette is quite nicely suited to the Aston Marina. He's really moving forward. I mean, he's always had good acceleration. My real concern would have been the last sector, where you need all that rotation. As Taz... What was going on there? Oh, Taz was serving a penalty, okay. I was wondering, oh, and a second penalty. It was half a second. That's how Captain Chubbs ended up getting that close. And did it? Yeah, so I think that's a little bit of lag playing a factor there, and Chubbs goes into the back of Asseldor and ends up losing that position back. Or does he? He keeps to the outside of Taz. I think maybe had to back out of there. It's Taz now right on the back of Asseldor again. And top four have a bit of a breakaway from this group, especially with all the shenanigans that are going on in that penalty zone. It's now a five-way fight with Gilles on the back of Anonyma. So how many? So you can see different lines. You can see Gilles in the background. He's not doing the extended line at the last corner. I wouldn't either. I don't think it's actually worth it. The one that is worth it, I think, is the exit of the hairpin we're coming up to soon. As Anonyma is on the inside of Captain Chubbs, it's going to slow them up a lot going side by side through here. Can Gilles take advantage? Oh, he can. Just about keeps it within track limits. One of the places where you can actually get a penalty for going wide. Oh, Captain Chubbs having a really late look at Anonyma there. Now it's turned into a slightly different five-way fight. She is going to be bumping Anonyma. And they are slowly pushing their way back through. Ooh, just going to make it three wide to the inside. Nice and late on the brakes. Gets there, cuts as much of the corner as he can. Ooh, Chubbs is going to leave it in there. Ooh, tries to leave some space on the exit, but unfortunately trying to go three wide. Yeah, it was never really going to work out there. Gilles comes out much better off. Captain Chubbs the big loser. Yeah, I think it was just really unfortunate. Gilles ended up getting sort of forced off track onto the AstroTurf. Chubbs got sandwiched between Gilles and Anonyma. Not really sure much else could have been done there. But really, really unfortunate for Chubbs. He was having such a great race. He was up to he was fighting for P7 from P12 or 13 on the grid, I think. So it would have been a really good result. Now let's quickly have a look up at the front. Whoa, I think that was Perry having a massive slide. X9AG just using all the runoff and a bit more. And then we've got Kellen still out front, still pretty comfortable. Perry with the fastest lap, 53.0. Oh, X9AG was a little bit wide. It was quite a bit wide at the first corner. I think that is one of the places you can get a penalty. Yeah, and he did. It's going to be crucial he doesn't pick up another one, because 1 second penalty will definitely lose him this position to Perry. I think he managed to keep it within the track limits. X9AG having a bit of a slide on the exit, as he always seems to do. But that, I think Perry is in the slipstream now. All he's got to do is stay close, and he should get this position where X9AG serves that penalty. Both get fairly decent exits. The Jaguar with the better acceleration going to be able to quite easily stay close. Don't think the Royal Geist is going to be close enough to profit from this. Yeah, and there goes Perry. Yeah, X9AG falls comfortably into P3. Not really under pressure from Dorgeist. Got a lot more work to do. This is looking really good for Kellen and really good for Team Jaguar. A 1-2 in the sprint would be a great way to seal the championship in the constructors and drivers at the same time, because I'm pretty sure that would do it. Perry having a little bit of a twitch through that final sector. It is slightly off camber, that corner, so it can catch you out. Tyres still pretty healthy. Perry's going through the fronts a little bit more than X9G is though. I'm not even sure by the last lap that's really going to be significant enough to make a big difference. Oh, but that might be a big slide for Perry, and he might be getting a penalty on top of that. No. Okay. Interesting. The game actually didn't think he was fast enough that it was actually worth giving him a penalty for. That is a rarity. But it does bring X-Energy and Throttle Guys really close onto the back of him. I can only guess it's because he was partly on the AstroTurf. As we got Throttle Guys going for a late move. Very late on the brakes, gets it stopped though. And then holds it through the second part of the chicane. Is X9G going to be able to fight back immediately? Throttle Guys having to go fully defensive. Oh, and X9G just sends it around the outside. This is looking like an absolute beast of a move. Uses all the track and a bit more on the exit, which he can do. And he does get that move done. Throttle Guys just maybe being a little bit too conservative on the inside. I mean, it was an absolute send from X9G to go all the way around the outside there. But that does point back up into the podium positions, but Kellen, if anything, is extending that lead. Yeah, 54.4, 53.7, 7/10 out of these guys on the last lap. I think this has just settled down a little bit, so let's have a quick jump back and see how everything is getting on. So, Asador still holding on to P5. Taz holding on to P6, Shields still holding on to that P7. Senor Fak has made his way up into 8th. So a lot's changed down here. Senor Fak is up into 8th. Mortal has come from, I think, nowhere really, to be in 9th. And then we've got also back up into the top 10 and Anoma just outside. And then we've got Chubbs and Stigimos about to have a bit of a battle. Oh, Chubbs has made another mistake, 2:05 on the last lap. And what's happened to Rock? Because he's made a couple of mistakes himself on the last lap as well. So let's jump back up, because these guys were fairly close. Both going a little bit wide through the first part of the chicane. It's going to compromise the exit a little bit. Ooh, the Throttle Guys tipping 2 wheels on the AstroTurf. That might cost him a chance at going for the move here. Still tucked up right behind, but I mean, X9G, if he's that much later on the brakes, should be able to hold this, and he does. Neither of them choosing to use the full extent of the track when they're on their own, not going side by side. More of a useful feature in battle, where you've got the option to go out there if you want to keep the momentum going. And X9G still got a chance at this P2. Although his front tyres are starting to catch up, so are Throttle Guys, to be fair. They're not too much different. X9G going really wide again. It does give you dirty tyres into turn 1, so that might be what caused this slide where he ended up getting the penalty. Ooh, Perry goes a little bit wide again. I think he was just 2 wheels on the curb, so he should be okay there. But X9G is really close now. Needs to set up a good exit from the hairpin if he can, if Throttle Guys isn't putting too much pressure on him. That's what Throttle Guys trying to do, goes deep. Gets it turned, gets on the power nice and early, keeps it on the track. And then as soon as they're back on track, he wants to be in the slipstream. And the Jag, he's just... Yeah, the 296 can't compete with the Jag on the acceleration. Oh, but that is a late move. That is a late move. That is a very late move, probably a bit too late. And that might allow Throttle Guy stuff into P2. He's got one, he's up into third. But XNAG's got a slipstream from Perry. But I'm sure that XNAG is going to make this 3 wide if he can. Oh no, there's contact between Throttle Geist and Perry, and then between XNAG and Throttle. But I think that's all worked out roughly fair enough, because Throttle was trying to get out of it because he bumped Perry in that corner. Ended up blocking XNAG and stopping him getting P2. And then Throttle Geist just overshoots that last corner, drops him off the back. XNAG's still got a chance. But Kellen is well and truly gone. And he's going to be the Tier 2 champion for this season. Doesn't get the fastest lap, but doesn't need it with the sprint race win. And we got to go back because we missed the move from XNAG. I thought he might be coming. Perry goes a little bit wide. XNAG sends it to the inside. Gets it stopped at the apex though. And then Perry can't quite out-drag him to the line. The line's too close. Asolo gets P5. Taz 6. Shields over in 7th. Sinifrac 8th, Mortal in 9th, Auto with a half-second penalty should be able to keep that 10th. Adonoma comes over in 11th. Then we've got this battle going on. Chubb still fighting with Stigamos. Oh, and Stigamos doing the same move as XNAG. Has Chubbs nailed the switch back? Yes, he has. Nice move there from Chubbs to get back into P12. I'll still be a bit disappointed with that. It was on for somewhere in the top 10 at least. Without those crashes, then Roscoe's bringing it home in 14th. Well, that was a very busy sprint race. Some very nice moves. Some very questionable moves as well. But yes, Marina, I would say if they fix the track limits, like even with the track limits, it's a good track for racing. But if they fix those track limits, it would be a really good track, especially for racing. So many opportunities to go for a move. Okay, let's get into this. So looking through, one driver is going for something different, Anonymous. That's interesting. Surprised that Anonymous going on the hards. Like, I know the Mazda's not going to be great here, but it's normally really good on tyres, so I would have thought he'd be able to do medium soft. Everybody else is going mediums from the start, and we've got Prime call in instead of Eroticos. So they've swapped for some reason. Eroticos maybe just not enjoying the track. Like I said, it is new, so it depends how much you've spent learning it. But yeah, hards for Anonymous. That is an interesting decision. Mediums for everybody else. And I do know that Asseldor is actually going for the 2-stop. Which, I can't remember if the pit loss is particularly big. I would assume it's not if he's decided to go for a 2-stop. But I think medium soft is the faster strategy. So we'll have to see who is doing that. If anybody else is joining Asseldor on the 2-stop. They will probably be doing a medium soft 2-stop, I would imagine, because it is a low tyre wear track. And they're already off, and it's a little bit unfortunate for the guys at the back because they do start before the final corner, so that is going to cost them a little bit more time, get a bit of a bigger field spread. So this is really good for Auto though, because he qualified in 5th, he had the pace. The only reason he wasn't towards the front was because of that one incident with Perry. So this might be a bit of a cruise, potentially, for Auto, if he's going medium soft. He was going a little bit wide there. Going wide into it's fine, but you really want to kind of cut it back to a late apex to maximise the exit if you can. staying fully wide, even with the extra runoff if you use it, isn't really the line. Top tier mistake. Did you fit the wrong tyres, or did you just think that hard medium was the way to go? Oh, we've got Senor Fat with a half-second penalty. Look, he's got a lap to do something about the gap behind if he can. But it is quite painful getting those early because you're going to lose more positions potentially. And the Lambo's not going to be the easiest car to get those positions back with. So let's drop down and see what kind of fun Anonymous is having on these hard tyres. He's already lost one position to Captain Chubbs. Although he's actually having a bit of a fight back at him, even on the hard tyre. I mean, if he can stick with the group, he could at least get an undercut when he goes on to the mediums. But I would be amazed if he's able to hold back the guys on softs at the end, even if he managed to undercut some people. Stigamos trying to go around the outside here. Oh, has to go wide. 2 wheels on the extra surface. He's going to get a penalty. I think he might have lifted to stay behind Anonymous there. So that might be enough to not get in one, and it looks like it is. So maybe the AstroTurf is... There's a possibility the AstroTurf is the track limit, because none of the other track limits make any sense. So it wouldn't surprise me too much if it was. Primeco getting a way better exit than Stigamos. AMG does have really good traction. And Stigamos trying to go back for the move to the inside. Play on the brakes, gets it stopped. Primeco going to hold it all the way around the outside. Yes, he is. Nice move there from Primeco. And up front, Senor Fak is serving his penalty, and that is 3 positions lost. Said that could be costly, and it really has been. Then goes wide on the exit for good measure. How is Auto doing with the gap? He's slowly building that gap up. Then we've got Mortal, who's pretty close to the pack still. 2 Jaguars together in 9th and 10th. I would imagine they've done the maths and they know they've won the championship. Kellen's would have been extremely straightforward. I'd have to look at the constructors, but I think they had enough lead where they got a 1... I mean, they got a 1-3. So they would have outscored them, and it's a chunk of points that Ferrari can't gain on them. So I would guess that's probably wrapped up as well. So basically, everyone in this is just racing for a podium or the win, for bragging rights. As we've got Perry with 55.2, fastest lap. Is Perry the Jaguar in 9th? He is. So Kellen's still behind his teammate. X9G having a look at throttle guys around the outside. Probably going to be looking to set up an exit. Actually going to go all the way around the outside. This is the point where normally you would have to back out, but obviously the track limits don't matter, so he can just keep his foot planted. And now the 296 top speed is going to start to kick in. Throttle guys trying to go a little bit defensive, keep him out of the slipstream from Senor Fak, but he's got the inside. There's a long side, but the inside for this corner is the one you really want. Yeah, and XIG 2 wheels onto the AstroTurf, and like I said, that is just like ice out there. And that is position lost to Perry immediately. Perry's going to try the same move X9G tried, but I think that's too wide. Yeah. Should be safe from X9G. Yeah, manages to pull it back, keep it on the track. Still super close. What is happening up ahead? We've had quite a big shift in positions. What has happened here? So, Gilles gets super close at the end of the back straight. He goes to the inside, gets sent to the outside. Like I said, the outside for this second part of the chicane is what you want. So if he holds it all the way around the outside, which he does, oh, no, absolutely cuts that chicane. Surprised he didn't get a penalty for that. And that cost Mortal on the exit. Now he's coming under pressure from his teammate and from Taz. Oh, and he tries to dive up the inside of Gilles. And is he maybe going to lose the position to Taz around the outside? Oh, Hasselhoff making a little bit of contact with Taz. Taz still alongside. Now he's actually going past his teammate. Oh, and both Peugeots got a little bit wide through that corner. And this is where we join them. Maul trying to have a little bit of a nibble back at Taz. Taz is going to have the inside for this corner. Surely going to be able to hold it. Yeah, and he does. And we was bold to go for a move in that section to begin with. And now she is actually starting to build a little bit of a gap away from these guys, which is good for him because he doesn't want to have to defend into on the end of the back straight, which he might have needed to with the 458. And now Maul coming under some pressure from his teammate. We haven't seen much in the way of team orders between these guys, so I don't think that's going to be coming. As we've got Perry looking for a move. Oh, he's trying to defend himself from X9G. He's going around the outside again. Perry trying to keep him off the track, which is well within his rights to do. If you voluntarily go off all wheels off the track, you do not have to be let back on. X9G is going to look for the move. Couldn't quite get there. And they all managed to hold position. Oh, Taz picks up a penalty. That's 3 positions gone. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, burning to 6th. Ooh, might be able to get one back. But say I can hold it around the outside here. So X9G manage it in the sprint race. Now Taz coming under a little bit of pressure from Throttle guys, but he's not really close enough to go for a move. Perry overshoots the corner. Is that maybe going to open up an opportunity for X9G? Not quite. Oh, Kellen going wide in the background. Doesn't lose too much time. Captain Chubb's really getting into this fight now as well. He's way well pulled away from Stiggy Moss and Unama and Prime Call, who we just joined. I think that was just a dirty air. I don't think they were even side by side. Just dirty air, dirty track. It's an unfortunate spin there for Prime Call. That's personally why I wasn't going out there. Suzuki just could not handle those bumps and the dirty track. He was sliding all over the place. It is a risk. I'm sure theoretically over 1 lap it is faster, but that is the risk you take. As we've got Taz. Ooh, we've got a 3-way fight. Taz and Thrall guys both right on the back of Senor back. Taz immediately going for the move. Gets to the inside. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It looks like Taz is going to be fully ahead. Goes a little bit wide, but it's fine because he's managed to block off Senor Fak anyway. And Sinifat coming under pressure from Thrall guys behind. Side by side, but Thrall's getting forced to the outside. And they're going to have Perry to deal with as well. Perry going to make it 3 wide. It's already side by side. There should be 2 positions for Perry. Oh no, Thrall guys. Oh, and Senor Fag, they've both done him. They've both got him back. I thought Perry had that sewn up there. Perry's actually having to go defensive from X9G. Oh, and Perry, don't know if he maybe had a slide there, but he's way overshot that corner. Needs to make sure he doesn't collect his teammate when he comes back on. Really costly there for Perry. Oh, and a massive slide for X9G up ahead. Well, that was something. Perry was almost up into P6 for a minute there. And now he's back down in 10th. But I mean, it was really nicely done from Sinifag and Thrallgeist to get the position back. One around the outside, one up the inside. But now X9G's got this half-second penalty. He's going to have to serve on this lap. Keller's close enough to profit from that. He's going to want as many cars between him as he possibly can. He might be able to get the Lamborghini on this back straight. Like I said, top speed of the Lamborghini is not great. But it didn't look like he got a great exit. He might actually be coming under pressure from Kellen here. Kellen looked like he got an amazing exit. And he is putting him under pressure, goes to the outside. Really late on the brakes. Might be able to hold this all the way around the outside. He is, but XIG is still there, so has to leave a little bit of room. Gonna get this position anyway. Perry, is he going to try and go for this move on his teammate? Yes, he is. Kellen stays to the outside. Chubbs looks like he might have got a chance, but XNG is going to take that back. Perry does manage to hold on to the position from his teammate. So Perry back up into 8th. Kellen has gained the position and lost the position, so stays exactly where he was. Now we've got XNG looking for a move. Can't quite make it though. How are Chubbs' tyres? Chubbs' tyres not looking in too bad a shape compared to XNG ahead of him. But the guys going mediums do need to make these last 13 minimum and 14 to be absolutely safe, that you can get to the end on softs. So that might be a bit of a big ask. We're already 6 laps in, they're about 50% gone. Pretty close to it. So maybe some of these guys are going to have to go onto the hard tyres to end the race. That'll be a big problem for some of these guys. As we've got Otto way off into the distance. Persistent 55s. Main thing is just not having to fight anyone. Then we've got Gilles in second, we've got Asador trying to go for the move now. Take that position away. And he does, way later on the brakes. Oh, and Taz, he way overshoots that corner. Is he going to lose any positions? No, just time to the cars behind. And how about Asador's? Asador's tyres are looking basically the same as Gilles, in terms of the most worn at least. Having to go defensive. And he's probably going to hold this as long as he doesn't overshoot the corner, which he might have done. Gilles gets to the inside, but Asador's going to be able to carry the speed. Should be able to hold this now, he's got the inside line. Yeah, and he does, as long as he doesn't overshoot the braking. And he does a little bit. You can cut that corner quite a lot, as long as you keep 2 wheels on the curb. But not a big enough gap for Gilles to go into. So Asador up into second. Like I said, we know he's going for the 2-stop, so I'm not sure what laps the 2-stop actually pits on. But he's going to want as big a gap as he can possibly get. If he can pull away from these guys, that would just be great news, because he needs to start building a gap. Then we've got Taz, who's made his way back up into P4. So he's redoing all the work he did at the start. We've actually got Kellen up into P8, who's actually got past his teammate again, but he's got a half-second penalty doing it. Then we've got XNG still just ahead of Captain Chubbs, who Captain Chubbs going for the move around the outside. Probably just going to set up the exit. Ooh, big slide for Perry. There was a little bit of contact with XNG, but I don't think it was anything caused the spin. Oh, maybe it was a little bit of a snap from XNG that unsettles Perry. Didn't cost him too much, but cost him a couple of positions. And like I said, nothing got reported in this, so whatever the result at the end will stand. Obviously, if you've nothing really to gain from it, then I think most people just let it be. But it gives Perry more work to do again. Now down into 11th, Captain Chubbs up into 9th. Fairly certain Captain Chubbs is going to go in for, well, he might go for the 2-stop, go medium soft maybe, or he's doing the 1-stop medium to hard. Now we've got Perry immediately trying to have a go back on X90G. X90G using the extra track to get the run and keep the inside line. And he manages to hold it in P10. Still nobody pitting, so none of the 2-stoppers coming in yet. Chubb's having a bit of a slide on the exit. It's enough to get X90G interested, but not close enough to go for the move there. Gets a better exit from turn 1. Just gets him right onto the back of Chubbs. And you can see he just carries so much more speed. Say cornering is not going to be the Corvette's strong suit, but the acceleration to defend out of this corner will be. And you can see X90G's carrying more speed through the corner already. Managed to stay super close. Can he fight back? Even with the slipstream. Hasn't really got anything to go up against the Corvette. Or does he? Sends another late one. A bit of a pushed him off track there. Perry's having a go at X90G as well. And I think X90G has let Captain Chubbs have that position. Knew he overshot that corner. But it's going to bring him under pressure from Perry, who gets to the inside, but we've seen X90G carry the speed around the outside, but he's having a bit of a drift. And Perry gets through. And Sticky Moss is getting onto the back of this group as well. But none of them are already off the hard, so he's going to go for the undercut. I'm not sure what the gap was at the end of the stint, but he might be able to fight into the top 10 and then try and defend that if he can. Also still slowly building his lead. Oh, we had a bit of a bad lap on the last one, 57. Lost almost a second to Asseldor there. Don't want to be doing too many of them. Got Gilles still sticking with Asseldor. Everybody dropping, pretty much everyone dropping into the 56s now. Tyreway starting to kick in. And we've got Taz actually back down in a position. We did see him pick up a penalty, I think. He's picked up quite a lot in this race. And then we've got Thrallgeist, got Senior Fat coming under a bit of pressure from Kellen behind as well, as Thrallgeist gets side by side. Not quite with Taz. But he is tucked up really close behind him. Who's going for a move? Taz going for a late move? No, don't think so. Thrallgeist can't quite hold it all the way around the outside. Has to fall back in, and that does cost him time. And now Senior Fat is right at the back of him. Looks like Ferrari's got the acceleration, covers off the inside a little bit. Senior Fat going really deep, that might get Kellen interested. Not quite, Senior Fat carrying all the speed. And then behind we have lost X90G a little bit. Did he have a penalty? Or did he have a small spin somewhere? Ooh, I think he made a mistake there. Yeah, because he's still close to the back. Goes wide, compromises the line, and then yeah, just overshoots and then onto the AstroTurf. Yeah, and causes so much time. Loses so much time. It's kind of wild how low grip that part of the track is. Ooh, also having a slide on that off-camber corner. And Asador, he's not been able to really take advantage of getting into the free air, but now he is coming in. Surely got to be 2 sets of softs to the end from here. If the other guys are one-stopping, he's going to have 4 laps on soft tyres. So in fact, possibly doing the 2-stop as well. Let's see, what tyres they put on, how much fuel are they going to put in? Asador, okay, so Asador is doing the 2-stop. Sinofak, I think he's doing... Is he doing the ones? Surely that's not going to be enough to get to the end. Actually, that might be. See what tyres he goes on to. If he's onto softs, he is definitely pitting again. Okay, he is doing the 2-stop. He's just put a lot of fuel in. Maybe wanting to guarantee himself some clean air. It's going to cost him a little bit in the tyre wear. Chubbs is doing the 1-stop. And Anonymous hasn't actually managed to jump any of them. Still going to be able to have a fight with Chubbs though, because they're doing the same strategy, just the opposite way around. So Asador, I mean, he's quite close to the pack. He really hasn't lost too much time. He didn't put any fuel in, so he's got pretty much the same as everybody else is going to have. He needs to hope that he doesn't catch these guys too soon, because he's going to have to start overtaking him then, and that's going to cost him some time, which he doesn't really want to be doing. How are we looking up front tyre-wise? Got 3 laps to go. 2 minimum, 3 to be safe. I think they could probably do that. Moore's got a little bit more tyre, but everybody's looking fairly similar. Even Kellen is looking fairly similar. And the Jag has been kind of eating its tyres this season. So, looks like all these guys kind of separated themselves out a little bit, so let's go and see if we can find any battles going on. I don't think there are actually any battles going on. It's just the main group still fairly close. I'll have to keep on an eye on some lap times. Chubbs may get caught relatively soon by Anonymous, a couple of laps. Mediums versus the hards. So I think we're going to stay on board with this little group. Mortal has got a lot of fuel. Also's down to 25%. Mortal is almost, well, it's not almost, but it's pretty close to 50%. And he's doing a lot of fuel saving. Short shifting around 75%, maybe even a little bit less. So that's going to be a big advantage for him in the pits. Probably going to be enough to get him back into 2nd place. Not sure it's going to be quite enough to get him back to Auto, because Auto does have a pretty sizable lead right now. And we have a little bit of a battle brewing behind. Kellen now onto the back of Taz. Being sent to the outside. Maybe trying the cut back to get to the inside. Yeah, he is. Gets alongside, but again, Taz got the outside, going to be able to carry the speed. To do that switchback, you really kind of need to get fully in front and then block the other car on the exit so they can't carry the speed. Because if they can stay alongside, like I said, there's no track limit out there, you can go as wide as you want, and they can carry the speed and they'll give them the inside for the next corner. So nobody else coming in yet. Perry's got a half-second penalty. It's going to drop him back. Stigimos is coming in. So Stigimos must be going onto the hards, I would imagine. It's a little bit late to be going for a 2-stop here, I think. And unfortunately, Asador is already onto the back of the group. Sets the fastest lap though, 54.2, and he's made the move quickly. And he's still got a massive tyre advantage, so as long as he can make the moves quickly, and he doesn't have to spend any time behind, if he gets caught behind in the last sector, that could be a problem. And these are the kind of laps he needs to put in, because he's taking pretty much 2 seconds, maybe more than 2 seconds out of the leaders. Yeah, 2.5 seconds pretty much. And he's got another couple of laps of being able to do that. So, two-stop might actually not work out too badly. With Perry's penalty, is that going to drop him behind Hasseldorf? Or maybe just right into his clutches? No, it's not going to drop him behind. And this could be a bit of a problem if he gets stuck behind in the last sector. But he gets a way better run. I think he'll be able to go for the move here. He's already clean past. I mean, that is a big tyre difference. Softer tyres versus a lot older, harder tyres. And makes the move. Like I said, he has got the same amount of fuel. So they've all got one stop to make, so this is basically a fight for position on track. And coming up to lap 13, nobody's going for the 54-0 as well. With making the move, and into turn 1, so that's a good lap. Took another couple of seconds out of everyone in front. The drivers ahead are going to get a bit of an undercut when they go onto soft tyres, because they'll be fresh. Or they are going to have worn tyres at the end. And I'm surprised nobody's trying to come in on lap 13 and try and go 8 on the soft tyres. We had a few people try that in Tier 1. Suzuki could have done it, but I'm not sure it would have been worth it in the end. Ooh, and I think Stigimos has made a mistake, 204 the last lap, because Anonymous is way ahead. So he has managed to gain a couple of positions. Stigimos is out on another set of mediums. So unless he's going to pit again, but he's fueled to the end, could potentially have a minute penalty coming his way. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. Also still going, tyres should make it, they're getting very low, but they should make it. Fuel's only just going to make it as well. And then Gilles with the same. Low tyre wear. Everybody fairly similar, and this is pretty good timing for Hasseldorf, because they're all going to peel into the pits this lap. If they'd stayed out another lap, that would have been a problem for him. So this is going to put Hasseldorf into the lead of the race, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, everybody coming in. Morsel got 29% versus, I think Horto had less than 10. Pretty sure he had less than 10. Horto's already finished refueling. So has Morsel, so has Gilles. See what the order looks like when they come out of the pits. So, Senor Fak is going to get into second position. Got quite a gap to Hasseldorf, but like I said, he did fuel up in the last stop, so I might not need to fill up at all in this next one. So he will gain some of that back. So also does still hold the lead, Morsel does jump up into second. Shields is still close in third, and I'm assuming Mortal's going to be going flat out because he's put the same amount of fuel in as everybody else. Taz may be under fueling slightly. The Ferrari is pretty good on fuel, so that might just be what he needs to push. But he's coming under pressure from Kellen immediately, who's looking to get himself up into 6th and would be potentially in net 4th place right now. And he does manage to get that move done. Oh, and Taz got 2 wheels onto the AstroTurf. Ooh, and he's causing a bit of a scene for people behind him. How close was that to these guys? Let's get forward. Oh, Perry with the 3-second penalty. That's quite easy to do here. Luckily, everyone managed to avoid him. But yeah, 3-second penalty. That's for cutting the pit line, probably on the exit. Could also have overshot it on the Was it? It must have been. I think Perry's was. I think these are for overtaking under yellows. Because if they were pit penalties, they would have served them. And that is why we have the flags rules turned off for eSports. Because did they actually overtake? Let's go back and have a look. Yes, but it was literally as they came out. They were already side by side. The move was already happening. Yeah, and they get the 3-second penalties for that. Crazy stuff. Senor Fac's already in the pits. Plus a little bit more fueling. That's an interesting strategy. There was a lot of tyre wear left for him. I mean, if they'll comfortably go to the end anyway, maybe he just doesn't want to get undercut. Or doesn't want the other guys to get as big of an undercut. Gonna come out in P8. And Under's inside the top 10, so he's got something to try and defend if he can. Although he's got that 3-second penalty, that's going to cost him those 2 positions, so he will be outside. So yeah, a bit unfortunate for Anonymous. X90G might get away with only losing 1 position. Hold on, yeah, why did both of you get 3-second penalties? You didn't both overtake someone. Unless you both got penalties for overtaking Taz. But yeah, that whole incident is why we do not have flag rules on in eSports. To avoid the nonsense of that stuff. So that is 1 position down for X9G. And it's going to be 2. I mean, 3 seconds, it brings them basically to a complete standstill. It brings it into pit lane speed, essentially. And that is going to let Perry through. Perry did serve his own, but that was for going over the pit line. And I'm sure these guys are going to have a nice fight until the end. Taz has now joined his teammate. Could maybe help him bumping him past Perry. As we've got Rd8 in from the lead. Be interesting to see where he's going to come out. Auto does take over the lead again. 54-2, 53-0 from Kellen. So Kellen is really trunking into these guys. 53-8, 8/10 out of Gilles on that last lap. His tyres doing slightly worse. A little bit less fuel as well. So guys, Hasselhoff comes out in 6th. Pretty comfortably in 6th, but he's got a big gap ahead of him. I think he's going to need some help from the tyres going off up ahead for him to catch that gap. It's going to be a bit of a big ask. Sinofac's got a chance of maybe getting to him to have a fight. And then you've got these guys behind who I think are just going to have an absolute brawl and not care at all. So Stigimo still hasn't pit. Pretty sure he's only used medium tyres. And I think we've just lost Captain Chubbs there. Obviously was not having a great race in the feature. I will have a check of that lap 18. We'll see what's going on. We're on lap 17 right now, so we've got a little bit of time. This looks like where the battle is going to be. Kellen really closed in a lot on these guys on that first lap. Tyre we're still fairly even. But I would be surprised if he can go flat out like that for the whole 7 laps without completely killing the tyres. So maybe just do 1 full push lap. Try and get the fastest lap, which he has got. And I think realistically, Hasselhoff or Senor Fax, the only ones that have got a chance at taking that from him, unless somebody does a late pit stop just to go and get the fastest lap. But Gilles is really holding on nicely. He got closed in a lot on that first lap, but he's not... Kellen's not right behind him right now. Needs to nail this exit though, because the Jaguar is a bit of a weapon on the straight. Doesn't maximise the exit, Kellen absolutely does. And he took nice in the slipstream. Is it going to be enough? We'll watch them to this corner and then we'll jump back to Anonymous if the move is not going to happen, and it doesn't look like it will. It does not look like it is happening. So let's go and join onto this battle. A little bit of a gap still, but like I said, Prime Call is coming on fresher soft tyres, so that gap is going to close pretty quickly. We'll be getting slipstream at that distance. Ooh, Anonymous overshoots the corner a little bit. And that's going to put Prime Call right behind him. And he's got the slipstream. Anonymous still just sitting in the middle of the road for now. Doesn't defend the inside. Prime Call not going for the move. Anonymous goes super wide. Managed to keep it up, but goes a bit wide. Manages to actually get back on track. Has a little bit of a slide, gets another Prime Call interested in looking at a move. Again, not quite. So where is Prime Call going to try and go for this move? Is he just going to wait until the back straight again? Because the AMG should be getting a great exit from there, especially with the softer tyre. You'd imagine it could be quite an easy move. Tucked up right behind Anonymous still. He's getting sent to the outside. Which I don't think will be a major concern for him. Just go a little bit wider. Try and get the cut back. Or is he just going to go all the way around the outside? So Prime Call is trying to use all the tracking a little bit more. He's on the outside. Can't quite pull back into the slipstream because he's still a little bit alongside. Does not break as late as Anonymous does. Anonymous still hit the apex. So maybe here Prime Call is still close, but I don't know if he's going to be close enough to go for a move into this corner either. Yeah, and he's not close enough. And the longer he keeps him behind, the more his tyres are going to go off. And the more that balance is going to shift towards Anonymous. Goes a little bit wide. Is Prime Call going to try and get to the inside? He tries. Couldn't get far enough alongside though. Yeah, taking very different lines there. Anonymous gets a bit of a bad exit. Prime Call fully ahead. Anonymous lets him go and gives him the position. Oh, but Prime Call overshoots. Goes just over the AstroTurf. Is he going to get a penalty for that? Side by side, Anonymous gets a little bit of switchback. Going to put him to the outside. Is he going to try and set up the switchback now? We've seen him been extending the track, so he might be preferring the outside line, but he is looking to do the switchback, get a good exit. And he's tucked right up behind Prime Call. Prime Call not going to the inside to defend. Is Anonymous just bumping him and maybe waiting to the end of the straight? Pulled out to the inside now. And we've seen him be a bit later on the brakes. And he just managed to get that move done. But now Prime Call again, he's super close. Really tucks up behind him in the slipstream. Anonymous going to cover off the inside. Prime Call trying to get to the inside, but couldn't quite get the rotation anymore. So the tyres are going off now. Both going extremely wide there. And Onuma does manage to hold that position for now. Seen Prime Call try a couple of times, almost half-second penalty for an Onuma. That might be that position done then. Watched him into the final corner, don't think a move's going to be coming there, so let's have a check-in with the leaders. Gorto on the final lap. Maul has closed him down. Tyres are pretty similar. Should both be okay for fuel. And also has got enough of a gap that without mistakes should be okay. Kellen's tyres should make it to the end. Same for Gilles, is a little bit too far back from Kellen to really fight him for anything. Asador is going to hold on to 6th, Senor Pack is 7th. Then we got this battle that I did predict would be going for a while, Perry and X90G. X90G's not right on the back of him though. Then we got Taz, Stigimos, then we got this by Anonyma with the half-second penalty, just ahead of Prime Call. We can follow this one to the penalty zone. I'm imagining Prime Call is going to get this fairly comfortably as long as he doesn't mess this chicane up. Oh, Anonyma overshoots it. Well, that's definitely going to land the slide. That's definitely going to give Prime Call the position. But he is also holding on to the lead. He's held it since the start. Little gap early on. Mortal managed to close in a little bit in the pits with saving some fuel in the first stint. But it is going to be Otto who comes across to get this feature in. I think he won the feature last time he won a race as well. Doesn't run out of fuel, gets to the end. P1 for Otto, P2 for Mortal. Kellen rounds it off with another podium. Then we've got Shields in 4th. A really good result for him, both races really, for Shields. Throttle in 5th, so good result for the 458s in this one. Asador 6th, Sinopac 7th. Perry's going to bring it home 9th. That'll definitely be enough for the constructors, even if it wasn't before. Then X9G just runs out of fuel but keeps the position ahead of Taz. Stigimos didn't pit a second time, so I think that is a minute penalty coming for Stigimos. Then Prime Call 12th, Anonyma 13th, but they will both gain a position, I think, from that one. Let's jump way back. Stigimos. Yeah, Stigimos was on mediums. So that is a minute penalty for Stigimos. And yeah, that is the end of this season for Season 21. How did the points shake out in the end? Obviously, Kellen won. We know that. X9G held on to second, ended up 42 points down. Perry in third, 60 points off the lead. Then we've got Anonyma 4th, Taz 5th, Mortal 6th, Throttlegeist in 7th, Asador in 8th, Auto up to 9th with that result. Actually, only his second win of the season, but it was the feature in Red Bull Ring. Then we've got Senor Fack rounding out the top 10. For the constructors, Jaguar, yeah, did it pretty comfortably in the end. 444 points versus the 296 on 352, so almost 100 points. Fairly comfortable in the end. Peugeot in third, 458s in 4th, and the Mazda RX Vision in 5th. But yeah, that is it from me from this season. I will be back next season, probably with Tier 2 again, I would assume. But yeah, like I said, season is over, so if you're interested in joining anyone who is new, there should be a link in the description to the server. Feel free to hop in and we will get you sorted once you're in there. But yeah, that's it from me. I will see you guys all next season. See ya.